We begin at 6 with an update to breaking news. Tonight we're learning more about a shooting inside a Newport-News school.
Police say a 6-year-old boy shot a teacher at Richneck Elementary on Friday. In the last 2 hours, the police chief gave an update on the investigation, including where the student got the gun and how the teacher is doing.
We have live team coverage. A prayer vigil for the teacher is set to begin in about 30 minutes. Angelique Arentalk is there. But we start with Ann Sparacca with that update from the police chief. Ann.
Well, David, Janet, Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew said the teacher, Abby Zwerner, is in stable condition at the hospital talking with her family. He said when he first spoke to her on Saturday, one of the first things that came out of her mouth was, "Do you know how my students are?" And now Chief Drew said after a thorough investigation, detectives are learning the child got the gun from inside his own home.
Mrs. Zwerner was providing class instruction, and the 6-year-old child displayed a firearm, pointed it at her, and fired one round.
Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew called 25-year-old first-grade teacher Abby Zwerner a hero when describing the shooting that unfolded Friday afternoon inside a classroom. The chief said it started when the child pulled a handgun out in the middle of a lesson and pointed it at the first-grade teacher. He said that's when Zwerner put her hand up in defense, and the 6-year-old student fired one bullet, hitting both her hand and her upper chest. He said Zwerner still got up and rushed her students out of the classroom.
And she turned around. She turned around to make sure that every one of those students was safe.
This is the second shooting inside a Newport News public school building in the last 17 months. It's leaving Superintendent Dr. George Parker III searching for a better solution.
Well, there's a lot to learn here and a lot to unpack. And I would not stand here and say that we have all the answers. But we're up to the task of making sure that we do what's necessary to make sure that our elementary schools are safe, and that we can minimize any risk of future violence in our schools.
Drew said detectives spoke with the child's mother and learned she had a legally purchased 9mm handgun out of York County, and the child put the gun in his book bag before she drove him to school.
I just want to reiterate that this shooting was not accidental. It was intentional.
And Chief Drew said the boy is at a nearby hospital for evaluation. He did not say if the boy or his mother would face any charges in this situation. Reporting live in Newport News, I'm Ann Sparacca for 13 News Now.
As for the child who fired the gun, Chief Drew said his department is working with Child Protective Services and a community service board to seek guidance.
He called the situation rare, saying he is still navigating how to handle it. And a prayer vigil for the teacher, Abby Zwerner, is set to begin in about 20 minutes. Angelique Arentalk picks up our team coverage from there.
The outpouring of support for Abby Zwerner is overwhelming. One example of that is a vigil happening within the hour at 6:30, in part to honor her and to pray about her during this time. As you can see, some people have already started to gather here outside of the Newport News Public Schools Administration building. The organizer of this vigil, Amanda Bartley, is a school teacher herself. She's asking people who will stop by tonight to wear green and bring candles. She wants to unite people in prayer as Zwerner recovers at the hospital. This afternoon, Police Chief Steve Drew said the first-grade teacher at Richneck Elementary remains in stable condition at the hospital. Bartley hopes to rally support around Zwerner, although she doesn't know her personally.
We have to show our support for our own. We have to show support for Miss Abby and for the students and all the staff over at Richneck. I wholeheartedly believe that prayer works, and this seems like the most appropriate thing to do.
In addition to praying for Zwerner, Bartley says she is also praying for the 6-year-old child who police say pulled the trigger in that shooting. Again, the vigil gets underway at 6:30 here outside the Newport News Public Schools Administration building. Reporting live, Angelique Arentalk, 13 News Now.
All right, Angelique, thank you. And count on 13 News Now to stay on top of the story. We'll bring you breaking updates on air, online, and on the app. We'll have much more on 13 News Now at 11.